Welcome to episode number 9, which features our activities at the barn over this Easter. Because of the amount of content, I'm going to split this into 2 parts. So part 1 will feature Good Friday and Saturday when we got to stripping out the cab of the RT. And part 2 will feature Sunday and Monday. So anyway, sit back and enjoy. Here's part 1 of our Easter events at the barn. Hello and welcome to episode number 9. It's Easter. It's a bank holiday today. It's Good Friday, and typically in British tradition it's raining out there. But anyway, never mind. Hopefully I might spend at least 3 of the 4 days up here. That's today, Saturday, Sunday and possibly Monday, depending on how we get on. The intention this weekend is to finish off on that beading. Yeah, it keeps going on and on and on and on. So I took the offside beading off last week, as you may have seen in the previous episode. And hopefully this weekend, if it dries out, it's a little bit damp in here now, tomorrow I might get a chance to spray that up and then we can start putting that back on as we progress through. But tomorrow the main plan is to take the cab of the RT out, and God knows what I'm going to find under that floor, because I explained last week it's quite exposed to the elements there at the front of the bus. We've had a bit of a peek under there and it doesn't look too good, but I've got an original piece of wood to go in the front corner piece just there, and I need to replace this really tackily made piece of wood which sits alongside the cab door. So that's the plan for this next 4 days. So hopefully sit back, enjoy, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so let's get started with Good Friday. And guess what? Rubbing down and paint removal from the window pans. Here we can see an example of some shavings from the window pan. You'll also notice, here we go, doing a bit of scraping now. Problem here is it is incredibly slow, and you can't get one of the orbital sanders in there because the space is quite limited, and you've got that rubber, the window gasket, which sits alongside, so I don't really want to damage it. Although they're coming out, I'm not intending to change them at any given time. So Friday was really taken up with doing loads of this stuff. Luckily, in Filmland, we can actually speed this up and get it done a lot quicker. In reality, it's painfully slow. Doing this stuff on the bottom of the window ledge is actually quite easy, but you've also got to do the 2 sides, the left, the right, and the bit above. So you can see that it's not an exciting process. Best thing to do with this, put some paint stripper on the panel, go away and leave it for several hours. Preferably overnight. You come back the next time or whatever, and hopefully the paint has bubbled away and you can then start to remove it. Best thing to do is, you can see what I'm doing, and some of this is trying to scrape off as much of the paint as I can before I end up using more paint stripper. So anyway, that was the fun with Friday. Saturday, thankfully, is a lot more interesting than this. Easter Saturday marked the arrival of my brother to help me dismantle the cab on the RT. As you can see, I'm making a start with some of the bits and pieces, having rubbed down the corner. The reason I did that is that the corner pieces are rather hard to do on a bench. So while it's all nice and rigid and inside the bus, best thing to do is give it a rub down there. So you've done the hardest part, and now the other 2 bits, the left and right section of that, are quite nice and flat, so you can put them on a bench and rub them down. Although those finials, I've had to use paint stripper on them, and you'll see a shot later on of what it looks like with the paint still on there. As you can see, I've started to remove the side lamp from the bus. Quite bizarre really how this thing was fitted. It's like it just sort of slides on the top like a cap. And you think, well, that's odd, because everything else they do, they use like 100 screws, and for this one they didn't. As you can see in here, I'm trying to work out how the thing is actually fitted into the frame of the bus. It turns out there was about 4 screws in there. You can actually see them partly visible, and I was trying to work out how they were fitted on the other side, with their nuts on the other side. Was it wood or something like that? But turns out that there was some little nuts on the back, so a little bit of fiddling about. But anyway, thankfully, my brother arrived to rescue me from this little task, and we managed to get a little bit of traction. So this is Daryl, my brother, who made quite a lengthy journey to get down to us. It's about 100 miles from where he lives currently. Some people do like to live outside London. I love my London, but there we go. But Daryl's a carpenter. He's got many years of experience. This RT, all RTs really, have so much woodwork, and it really is quite complicated. That pillar, which is just above my head there, Daryl actually looked at it and he said that it's really, really a work of art. Luckily, I have a couple of spares, so we were able to take that one out, and you didn't have to do really much work on it. But typically with RTs, you have to do a bit of adjustment anyway, so you'll have a few little chunks to take out of it. But the biggest one was that pillar, which is just above my shoulder there. That's the door pillar, and it was really poorly made. So don't know by whom. Might have been me, I can't remember, to be honest with you. But anyway, it was really crap. So what we're doing is we're going to replace all of that bit of wood above my head, the one by the door, all has to come out. The one thing about an RT, and I know I've said this before, is that they have thousands, literally thousands of screws, and just when you take off, say, like this piece of beading, you find more screws hidden below. So the first thing we've got to do is to get that piece of beading off there. I've got to get that lamp out, and away we go. So what I'll probably do is put this onto fast forward, because you're going to be watching this for like an hour or so of Daryl and I removing screws and bits and pieces. So hopefully on fast forward it'll be a little bit more interesting. Actually, I don't think I did make that door pillar, but anyway, it wasn't very good, and it just needed to come out. Now, like I've said before, the RT's been in this barn for probably at least 35 years and hasn't moved from this spot. When I worked for London Underground, I used to come up here probably 3 or 4 times a week whenever I got a spare moment. Didn't have to do so many hours when I was on the railways, but anyway, this obviously needed quite a lot of work. When I brought it into the barn, a number of little problems were evident, and I'd bought a Routemaster RM1069 and done some paint work on that, and got that bus back up on the road because it was in a pretty poor state when I bought it. I had to buy a B-frame and bits for the engine and bits that had been removed I had to replace. But anyway, so having got 1069, the Routemaster, on the road, that then gave me the opportunity to take this off the road and make a start on it. And the very first thing, as you can see on the offside there, is I actually removed all of the offside to find, a real horror story of wood rot, the wood just basically falling out onto the floor. And I do hope that the offside is an exception, although I doubt it. So when we looked at this, a good friend of mine, I call him Dave from Billericay, he came and stuck his head under there. I stuck my head under there to have a look, and we weren't too impressed with what we saw. But realistically, we couldn't see all of it from our vantage point underneath the bus. And I was going to be, for the first time on this, very pleasantly surprised, because I've seen RTs where virtually all the woodwork behind this part of the cab is totally disintegrated, and it is a lot of work under there to put the whole thing right. So anyway, as you can see, I then end up with the job of clambering under the bus. I don't, apologies for not adjusting the camera here, because the camera's on a tripod just over the other side by my green Routemaster. But anyway, so here I am, just about seeing me occasionally, laying underneath the bus. Although I got a little bit fed up getting pelted in the face with bits of rust and dirt, so I had to put my safety goggles on. So I'm underneath the bus with my safety goggles on, while my brother Daryl is trying to turn the screws on that lamps around. But there was that one screw right at the very top, which you might just be able to see there, The bolt was right round some frameworks. I had to sort of contort my hand round a corner. I must point out that, you know, RTs are relatively simple. If you've got a modern bus, our engineers always complain about getting simple things like water pipes off or fuel pipes. So there's an absolute, half the bus has to be dismantled before you can get to something. The RT is not as bad as that, but and I'm sure that when they were in service and when they had their little bumps and things, the engineers were able to discover, you know, where these bolts were quite quickly and get them off. There was probably little techniques and what have you. But anyway, I'm very grateful for Daryl for coming down and spending his time with me. I was getting a bit worried, as I might mention later on in this video, about how long it was taking us to do that. Unfortunately, I just can't do the whole thing on fast forward. So one of the other things that I might mention at this point is the importance of taking copious notes and photographs of the vehicle. When Daryl started removing parts, I took a great deal of interest in you know, which nuts and bolts and screws came from where, because once you start to put the thing on the ground, it's a bit like a large jigsaw puzzle. You just have to remember what went there and how did that get fitted. So nowadays, thanks to the joys of iPhone cameras, pity we didn't have them around in the 1980s, you know, it's very easy just to take loads of photographs of all different angles, so that you can always go back to refer to them. The only problem is you should index them somehow, because I've got literally thousands of photographs of all bits and pieces. But it is useful to keep those notes, and I would always recommend anyone else that's going to have a go at doing it, just to take lots and lots of photographs, just to make sure that you've got a fairly accurate record, especially with something like this, where it's quite important to get the right things back in the right places. Wood screws are a big problem as well, because sometimes when you're trying to save a bit of wood, you might get a couple of bits of wood screws I call spinners, and you need to deal with them later on before you put the panels back on. Oh, good sake. When you just got here?
That was about 4 hours ago.
Jesus, 4 hours ago? What's the time now? Jesus Christ.
My sundial in the van says it's time for coffee.
I'll have an apple. You have your coffee, I'll have an apple.
Yeah.
Oh, poor thing.
Heck of a shame.
What is?
Yeah. That big one. I believe it made it. And it's got the sea shape. It's a sea shape.
Yeah, it is. It's a special one. It's the same size that goes around the grill arches.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. You know we're going to have to remove that lamp, didn't you?
What lamp?
What lamp? The thing that's hanging there looks like a hat. That's got to come out. We'll never get that panel off. It won't go through there, Darryl. Yeah, we're going to have to cut. I think what we'll do is we'll cut the wires.
Is that a Phillips? Somebody's put a Phillips there.
I hope not.
Yeah. That's a Phillips there. Ha ha ha.
Sacrilege.
No, it's not having it.
Is it a wood screw? Do you reckon it'll come off?
No.
There's going to be one more screw holding that in, you know that. Oh, hang on. What? Oh, hello. There's going to be a screw holding it in. Yeah, what a surprise. It says, I won't give it a Phillips screwdriver. You don't use Phillips on that.
Beautiful screw.
Don't you dare.
Screwdriver.
No one's moved a screwdriver. Is that one that was rotating earlier? Is it one we've now discovered that wasn't there before?
Oh, it's really tucked tight to that bit there.
Right.
If it's a Phillips, that'd be out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, crikey.
Oh dear.
Coming through. Screw there.
Do you know what, Daryl?
Yeah?
That ain't too bad. A lot of that is just some sort of like sealant.
That's
That.
oh, geez,
Yeah,
that's all loose.
that needs doing.
Yeah. Well, I've got
But
some.
I tell you what, the wood is there. Look,
It's intricate.
that is. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That is that. She's there.
Well, I've got some MDF for that.
MDF. You get lost with your MDF.
And chipboard.
Chipboard or softwood. How dare you, softwood? That pillar. That's the one we're replacing, isn't it? Yeah, that's that pillar.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Oh, is she? She's broken there.
Little one.
She's broken there.
Was that an
Daryl.
extension though?
She's broken there, I think. Or maybe it is not, is it?
Might be an extension. Oh,
No, it's not. It's the same
broken.
bit. Look.
Broken.
There. Whoa, she won't be moving around now. You know when they say half cab, that is a half cab. Well, most of it kind of gone. Right, talking about gone, here's Daryl leaving for his 100-mile journey back to Norfolk. So thanks very much to Daryl for helping out. And look forward to the next part. They've done the Sunday and the Monday as a separate video because this one had been far too long. So anyway, thanks for watching and look out for episode 10.